It's nice for me to look back and see myself in the context of a timeline of people which started with the senior service, the hydro boys in the 30s and the 50s, and in the fantastic achievements of democratisation of electricity supply throughout of Scotland.
Scotland has a fantastic renewable energy resource. At the time, the Scottish Parliament was being talked about, and we knew that if we wanted to create a framework for that resource to reach market and for it to benefit the people of Scotland, we had to work with that Parliament, and that is what Scottish Renewables set its stall out to do.
When I was elected to the first Scottish Parliament, Donald Dewar made me his Environment, Transport and Planning Minister, and early on I asked if renewables could be added to the list. I felt that creating new renewable opportunities in Scotland, getting the industry going and seeing it as part of our answer to the environmental challenges.
Every time I was seeing the slings and arrows of outrageous opposition, I'd look up at the portrait of Tom Johnson in Bute House and say, well, anything I'm under attack from is as of nothing compared to the fusillade that was aimed at Tom Johnson. And that served as an inspiration to set the big targets, and I knew they were achievable and still are achievable.
I got my sort of first proper job, as my dad called it, with a consultancy, and we were just, you know, trying to convince people at that stage that renewables was serious. And I remember the utilities coming along as guests. They weren't members in those days, they were guests, and they would come along and tell us how difficult it would be, how impossible it would be. It's just transformed from what it used to be, absolutely transformed.
The thing that hooked me into renewables was in 2001 when I visited my first wind farm with a journalist called Ben Anturk, and it really kind of shows how the sector has evolved. In 2001, Ben Anturk turbines, 500-600 kilowatt capacity, turbine heights were 80-90 metres, I'm not quite sure how tall they were, but now I'm working for an organisation which is looking to install turbines offshore at 191 metres. If there's anything that really symbolises the growth of the sector, it's the fact that we've moved from what I thought were amazing machines in 2001 to this incredible engineering that's going to be off the city of Aberdeen in a couple of years' time.
Back in the mid-90s, the industry was so fragmented. To be honest, we didn't know where we were going to be a year or two hence. To come back 20 years later to see the success that the industry's had is really quite incredible.
Obviously the industry has grown hugely. The targets, the next set of targets, which appeared even more radical, are now either met or on the way to being met.
I think the key Scottish Renewables has brought has been that cross-sector experience of having all the different technologies speaking with one voice. Basically being sensible, being rational, being plausible about what we can do, so that we've established a trade body that has real credibility.
It's been there since the start of the Scottish Parliament, so that capacity to debate with industry members, Scottish Renewables to obviously talk to ministers, to communities and be that key voice for the industry. I think going forward we've got lots of opportunities in this Parliament, and I hope that community energy will come more firmly on the agenda, and I look to Scottish Renewables to play a key part in making that happen as well.
I think what will happen, and I don't know how it will happen, and I can't predict in what way it will happen, but what's exciting is that you'll get a much wider and diverse basket of renewables. But what I am sure of is renewables is the future.